I have not been this excited about League pretty much ever. Because up to this point, Riot has not been this transparent about the things they've been working on. They always try to keep everything a secret. At least that's up to the point it drops onto PBE. And even during the biggest moments, that being the 10th anniversary or the launch of Arcane, we didn't know what was happening until it happened. But that all changed today. Because with the Season 2024 reveal, we got some nasty news. In fact, we got so much great news that there is no point in prolonging this intro. This video is probably aiming for 20 minutes anyway. So without further ado, let's see what insanity Riot brought onto us. It all begins with a quick recap of everything that happened in 2023. Which admittedly ended up to be a lot, although a lot of it concentrated in the other half of the year. The start of the year was not great. Yeah, I wonder why that cinematic was not in the recap. But then, of course, Meddler and Brightmoon arrive on the screen once again, even though this may be one of the last times Brightmoon is here. He's not dying, don't worry, he'll just be working on something else. And immediately upon seeing these two, I have a question. What's the lore behind the upside down logo? Oh, apparently it was a gift from the Australian offices. Heh, clever. Anyway, at the beginning they let us know that they filmed this in early November, which means that this is their past selves which missed out on some pretty funny drama. After which we get a quick recap as to what to expect from the season start. This is where we get all the map changes, we got the new terrain, we got Squooples. I'm still gonna call them Squooples, or Squippies. And of course we are also getting the new item system. And we got a reminder that the season start cinematic arrives on the 10th of January. And yes, at the very end of all of this, we did also get a bit of a teaser. A teaser that only gave us 2 frames, and oh boy did I already have a lot to say there. But that's not a topic for now, we'll get there at the end of the video. So first, the update jumps into updates on Ranked. Now this little segment is pretty funny, because they talked about exactly what we talked about in our last video. I'm not sure if this was intentional, but before this update came out, Riot did kinda start teasing that they were working on something when it came to Ranked. And so even before this came out, we already learned about what's happening. Essentially, they are addressing stuff like losing more LP than gaining it when you are losing or winning. Or how the entire climbing process just doesn't feel linear. Or how at times it may be more beneficial to just create a new account instead of progressing your normal account. And of course, they even talk about how the matchmaking is still not perfect. Now the funny part comes in when they mention that they are fixing all of these. Although in this video, they never mention how they are fixing it specifically. But from context, it is obvious that they are working with the True Skill 2 system. Again, we learned about this a few days ago, and if you are interested in this massive topic, I recommend watching that separate video. That is a whole 10 minutes of just explanations. But in short, if you just want the core information, in the future, League will try to evaluate your skill based on a lot of different metrics. It should be a lot better at guessing your skill. At least that's compared to the simple system of just looking if you win or lose. Which also means that it will be better at matching you against opponents who are also at your actual skill. So long story short, the future of matchmaking actually looks really good. So now, moving on onto the next piece of news, which is related to champions, which introduces Lexical and Soapbox. Here, of course, they start with the bestest of news, that being Skarner. Some people got sad that he wasn't mentioned in the latest dev post, so here he is. Apparently Skarner is currently in the polishing phase, which means that he is pretty much done. But up until this point they never talked about his lore, so they finally teased it. So Skarner is now the founding member of the Yuntal, with Yuntal being the royal throne of Ixtal. Which also means that Skarner was one of the reasons why this entire nation was turned into such a magical powerhouse. However, they also mentioned that Skarner is suspicious of the outside world, and he wants to keep Ixtal isolated. Which of course is a reference to the fact that the vast majority of Ixtal still believes that the outside world was destroyed by the Void. Because during the war with Icathia, when Ixtal's greatest mage of all time lost his battle with the Void, they lost all hope and they just locked the entire region. From that point on, they just believed the outside world was dead. So Skarner might be referencing that, or he might be referencing the fact that for some reason Piltovans keep going into this region and just mining stuff. So who knows? Maybe Skarner is gonna get his revenge on the Piltovans after all. Regardless, here it was confirmed that Skarner will arrive in League in the first half of 2024. And after Skarner, they are already planning 2 more VGUs. With one of them being an update for a champion from Arcane. See, my bets are on Victor, because Victor simply makes sense. Out of all the other main characters from Arcane, everyone else at least got a skin. And since Arcane is now canon, that skin can be portrayed as a canonical version of them. Well, Victor is the only one who got left behind. So it would make sense for him to either get a skin, just like Jace, or in his case, maybe he will just get an entire VGU. Now besides Victor, my only other bet was on Singed, because Singed is also gonna go absolutely wild this season. But Singed mains already tried to poke around and it seems like it will not be Singed. Which actually made Singed mains happy, because if Singed is getting a VGU, they really wanna talk to Riot about it. So yes, in my opinion, it is highly likely Victor. And here it was confirmed that that VGU will update the visuals, the voiceover, and even gameplay. Which made me pause a little bit, because in the past Victor already got quite a few mini reworks. So you know what? Who knows who that's gonna be? Maybe it is gonna be Heimerdinger after all. Now the sad news is that this VGU will go up next year. That being 2025, after Arcane 2 is already done. Which also means that Skarner will be the only VGU of this year. But hey, I'm kinda fine with that, because honestly, I think ASUs are way better and way more efficient. Stop right there, criminal scum! I'm from the future. So it turns out there was a bit of a misunderstanding. It was mentioned that this VGU would come out next year, after the end of Arcane 2. But that's from the context of them recording this update in November last year, so they really just meant to say it's gonna be up this year, after Arcane 2. So it was an honest mistake, and the only VGU that will come out in 2025 is the one we are about to mention. So now, back to the present, just ignore what I'm about to say about 2025 and stuff. However, the crazy thing is that even though the next VGU will be in 2025, Riot already announced that even later after that, Shyvana is getting a VGU too. And this one is funny, because way back in the day when Riot did all the voting on what champion would get VGU next, Shyvana was on the list every single time, and she never won. If anything, it really showed you that Riot really wanted to give Shyvana a VGU, but the people never pushed her through, and so now Riot just went for it. Now what's awesome is that Riot confirmed that this VGU will progress her visuals and her narrative. It will not be a complete overhaul. So it seems like the VGU will show us what Shyvana looks like after the events of the Mage Seeker. You know, after she got together with Jarvan and now they are kinda the rulers of Demacia together. Which sounds awesome. We are actually getting Queen Shyvana. Or as Riot puts it when it comes to this VGU, think more Udyr, less Skarner. But after that, we got some news on new champions. Of course, the first one everyone knows about now is Smolder. And while people got scared in the teaser, here we finally got the in-game model. And I can now confirm it does look better in-game compared to the teaser. I mean, even the splash art is pretty dope. I am still not a massive fan of those eyes though. I wouldn't mind a Sonic treatment. Stop right there, it's me again! From the future. Can anyone tell me where Riot found all of these Ws? Yeah, they actually gave Smolder the Sonic treatment and they fixed him. This is honestly unbelievable, and everyone should know that this is happening. Just know that it will take a little bit before all of this arrives on PBE, but yes, they are also fixing the art too. Look, I still can't believe how good all of this is. Now back to the past. Now at first sight, looking at the gameplay, it may look like he is more of a hybrid caster AD carry. Kinda something like Ezreal. But in reality, Smolder was designed to be a very traditional marksman. A simple one too, kinda like Tristana. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did become quite popular. Now one thing to note here is that when he uses his ultimate, he does actually summon his mom. And I kinda love that. It also means the dragon from the story was likely his mom, and that dragon is not dead. Anyway, then of course we do have one more champion coming out after that. That being the Vastayan solo laner from the Freljord. Here we got to see her house, or hut, depending on your perspective, where I noticed... Is that the glowing moat in the bottle? I don't know what it really tells us. But based on the teasers and the words used in these updates, right now people are split between two kinds of Vastaya. Either people think that this is gonna be a bunny or a Freljordian hare, or it is gonna be a cat. To which I have to say, we do already have a lot of cats. Now the interesting thing here is that this champion has actually floated around Riot for a while. And the last time Riot worked on them, they came out with Sylas. So now they went back to the original champion and they are trying to push them out again. Which also means that it will be some kind of a mid-range mage. And lastly, we got it confirmed that there is gonna be one more champion, which will be a familiar face. Nope, we are not getting Faye or Zolani or anyone like that yet, because to reveal this next champion, we go back to Bright Moon and Meddler, as they start talking about Arcane 2. Get ready for this one. They start talking about how excited everyone at Riot is about the second season, and how they want to bring more of Arcane directly into League. And yeah, this is something I actually missed last time. Arcane got a lot of awesome promotions outside of League. I even loved the point-and-click adventure, which still wasn't even related to League's gameplay. It was more of a separate game. And all we really got in League were the Hextech Gates, a Camtech Drake, and skins. A lot of skins, although we did get them for free. So this time, they are changing that. Not the skin pricing, just everything else. First of all, we are getting a character from Arcane as a playable champion in League. That being Mbessa Medarda, the mother of Mel Medarda, whom you may remember as the badass Noxian warlord from scenes such as this, that, and that. What the hell is her gameplay gonna be about? Well, they did tease that she will be able to sidestep your attacks with surprising agility, so she is gonna be a brawler. Sett is gonna have a fun time. But Mbessa is not the only part of Arcane that is getting into League. Apparently, there will be Arcane-inspired gameplay. Personally, I kinda hope they will bring in the Arcane-inspired bridge as a skin for ARAM. Fingers crossed, that would be really cool. But hey, I will also take an entire new game mode. Also, they did mention the new VGU, which I still do believe is gonna be Viktor. We should also get more Arcane skins. At this point, we are kinda running out of characters. So if Viktor is getting a VGU, I assume we are getting one for Heimerdinger, Singed, and maybe Warwick? We are kinda done after that. And they also mentioned that there will be some more surprises. Which honestly probably means that there will be some kind of in-client event, kinda like what we got for Arena. But that's just a theory. After which, they did show us the first clip from Arcane 2. And well... Hey, I'm not diving into this one today. That's entire 45 seconds of footage. I have to turn that into a 10-minute long video at least. So, let's move on. On to Champion Mastery. That's right, we are getting some really awesome news there, which are presented by Revenancer, the lead designer of their Motivations team. Or in other words, they are all about progression in League of Legends. And let me tell you, progression is getting a lot better in 2024. So, first of all, the mastery leveling system is getting uncapped. From mastery level 7 to 10, you will now unlock new versions of the newly reworked emotes. Fun fact, from the screenshots you can see that some of them are themed after Pantheon's shield. And from level 11 forward, there will be an evolving number that will always show your current mastery level. Now, don't get scared if you already have a lot of mastery points. All of those will be converted into the new system. So you will have a massive head start if you only ever play one champion. And we got it confirmed that this entire new system should go live in the first half of 2024. Yeah, so far the first half of this year is gonna be crazy. But we are still not done yet, because after that we are getting perhaps the best news of all, as we dive into game modes, which is presented by Cadmus and Choo Choo Train. Here at the beginning they quickly talk about the original release of Arena and how awesome it was to see all the support from people they got for it. And I have to say, I am still absolutely in love with it. And in fact, it is actually the only way I've played League last year. Look, I even participated in Dumps' Arena tournament. Which is why it's awesome to hear that in the first half of 2024, again, Arena is coming back. Again, with even more improvements. Once again, they will try to increase the champion diversity, they will improve game-to-game variance, and they will foster even more experimentation. All of which are things that are awesome to hear. It's also great to hear that they like when people try out wacky comps. Even though they are still tuning things, they want to encourage more of these. Just please, no more Yuumi and Leona. Now, a massive change we are getting when it comes to Arena is that they are actually swapping the format. Instead of having 4 teams of 2s, we are getting 8 teams of 2s. That is 16 players playing at once in any given Arena game. I'll be honest, I did not know their engine can even handle this many players playing at once. Wasn't there a hard limit as to how many features a skin can have because the game needs to load everything in at once? Wait, is this why Riot is dropping the support for all the old Windows systems? Regardless, this is nuts, and it's not something I expected. And yeah, it will have a lot of awesome benefits. Having a massive pool of people playing in a game means that you won't be only cycling against 3 other teams. Which also means that it won't be obvious which team is gonna dominate whom at the very beginning. But also, it will be a lot easier to just dip out if you are really getting stomped. And on top of this massive update, it was also confirmed that we are getting new arenas, new augments, and they are still experimenting with some new features. I'm gonna assume it is gonna be something like cameos. I don't know, what if we actually get TFT's carousel for items or something like that? Anything's possible. But yeah, that's it for Arena. But that is still not it for game modes. You see, Earth is coming back for the Lunar New Year. A lot of people will be excited about that one, and after that, One for All is also returning. But in 2024, there will be one more entirely new game mode. This is Christmas all over again. And just like Arena, it will be a totally new spin on the core League gameplay. But unlike Arena, this one will be a very chill way to spend your time with your friends. Now here's the thing, based on this, a lot of people assumed we might be getting PvE, since PvE is a lot less sweaty. But that's unless you've played Odyssey. So I don't think that's what it is. I believe we are getting some kind of a party game mode. In fact, my bets are on Neeko's Prob Hunt. The tech is already in the game, mark my words. Though I will say there is also the likelihood that this new game mode will be related to Arcane. That could be what's happening when they mention that there will be Arcane-based gameplay. And unfortunately, I don't think Neeko is fitting into Piltover. So who knows, maybe it will be a PvE story campaign about Arcane. Where's my copium stash when I need it? But that is it for game mode, so now we are moving on to anti-cheat. While the news here might be awesome, all of this will also have a darker side. And in fact, it might be the only sad news from this entire massive update. So, early last year, as Riot was fighting with their own security breach, they started improving their own anti-cheat system. But unfortunately, the increase in botting and scripting became obvious. And so, very soon, Riot will be bringing Vanguard into League. Now, in case you don't know, Vanguard is a kernel-level anti-cheat which Riot's been using for Valorant. Of course, every time something is kernel-level, it does raise eyebrows. Because it means that if you wanna play games, you have to have another questionable software running in the background. Not only that, it is a kind of software that can really dig into the core files of your computer. Which means, in the wrong hands, it can actually collect your personal information. Now, I am extremely confident that Riot's version of the kernel-level anti-cheat is not doing this. But in the past, there were some games that did not have this kind of reputation. That's why you'll see a lot of people not happy with this. Also, there is the possibility that it may just slow your computer down. Because as you are playing League, this software will be scanning what other programs are running at the same time. That's how they catch a lot of the scripting. Which also means that undoubtedly it will also catch some other things which it is not supposed to catch. And unfortunately, this is where the sad part comes in. First of all, people that made their own custom tools for League will basically just get banned. If you are using custom cameras or custom tools to record spotlights for skins, your entire channel might just get worthless now. But also, if you are making custom skins, it is extremely likely that custom skins and custom mods will no longer be able to get into League. Which is extremely sad because throughout the last year, that entire modding community has been doing such a stellar job. But oh well, all of these are sacrifices. Because yeah, on the brighter side, in Valorant, this kind of anti-cheat actually works. And because it works so well in Valorant, Riot decided to bring it into League. Now, this also means that League will get some new features. For example, Riot will be able to ban people based on their hardware. Which means you can't just create a new account and play again. You have to actually play from a different computer. But now they can also just terminate a game when a cheater is detected. Which means that no one is gonna lose LP just because they got unlucky and they got into a cheater game. But yeah, that's it for the anti-cheat. So now let's get something better. Into skins, which is presented by 100-piece Nuggets and Halia, who will give us updates on not only skins but also ASUs. Now first they start with an updated list of upcoming prestige skins. So, in this order, we are getting Rakan, Ezreal, Kindred, Evelynn, and Gale. Do what you wanna do with that information. After which, they did talk about the two new ASUs. First of all, Lee Sin's base skin is finished. And now they are in the process of just going through all the skins. Of which, there is a lot of them, and we did get some teasers. Unfortunately, when it comes to Teemo, they did run into some bumps on the road. And so his ASU is taking a little bit longer. And we will get an update on this later this year. Now, when it comes to just skins, there are some returning lines, but there is also some new stuff. For example, Lunar New Year is getting a new twist. They call it Heaven Scale, and since it is the year of the dragon, you can guess what it's gonna be. It's more dragons. Again. After which there is also an entire new skin line called Primal Ambush, which unfortunately already got leaked. But don't worry, the leaks came directly from Riot, who on day 2 of this year accidentally patched in files onto PBE. It's all tiger skins. Everyone is a tiger now. But of course, we are also getting some returning skin lines, so we are getting Porcelain, Fairy Court, Project, and Blood Moon, all of which should come out before summer. Now, because Riot likes to tie new skins into Arena now, I wouldn't be surprised if either Blood Moon or Project affected the Arena game mode in some way. Also, a cool piece of news is that older legendaries, which didn't have their own borders, are now getting their own borders. Stuff like Olaf, Tristana, and I'm just waiting here to see if Gentleman Cho'Gath also gets one. And yes, they also mentioned some forgotten champions in the 1000 Days Club. That is 1000 days without a new skin. So apparently Olaf will get some love this year, and they even teased a very fruity skin for Rammus. But that's it for skins too, so now on to esports. Now, I have no idea what's happening in esports. So, look, I'm sorry, I'm only ever paying attention to the Worlds. Speaking of which, the finals will be in London this year. Can I go? It's quite close. And that is it for this update. Although at the end, they very quickly reminded us that they are in fact celebrating their 15th anniversary this year. Which, you know, it would make sense for them to announce some new games again. Like that one massive one everyone is expecting. But they did confirm that this time around they would not be announcing any new games. Of course they did this to mitigate any false expectations, which was probably a really good move. Though I will say I am still expecting some news for Project L by then. And yeah, they did mention that this year is all about celebrating League specifically. So we should expect some big things there, with the celebrations starting in October, around my birthday. But that's really it for this massive update. Well, although they do also tease their cinematic there. It is literally 5 seconds of a teaser. And already I can squeeze at least 5 minutes out of this. Look, it's Tryndamere's tribe worshipping the Ironborn demigod, after which Aatrox comes in and everyone believes that Aatrox is the Ironborn demigod, after which he slaughters the entire tribe, he pierces Tryndamere and then infuses him with blood magic, and oh god, I don't want to know how long my entire breakdown is gonna be.